hear me, Vince? Can you hear me, Vince?
I can indeed hear you, Brian Fandango.
All right. Are you ready to go live?
I am ready indeed.
Welcome to Dies to Removal Live. Clem Fandango, yes we can. Can you believe Vince is the one who turned me on to Toast of London?
I mean, it's quite a British show, so...
It was a little too British for me at first, but then I Britished myself up by eating some crumpets and spotted dick, and I was sufficiently Britished. And
to be fair, it's a bit too British for most British people, if I'm honest. There's often quite adverse reaction to just how bizarre it is, so...
Did you ever see his other work called the Snuff Box?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's a weird one. I really like that.
Yeah, it's quite dark, and I wonder if some of it's aged poorly. I haven't seen it in years, but
probably.
Yeah, it's but he's also in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, of course
good.
I've seen.
I was about to say,
Garth Marenghi.
You'd love that. You'd love that. It's
yes.
So good.
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is the best. So, before we get started, chat, we want to say that Vince and I want to have a discussion on these topics, and we're actually not going to be looking at chat once we start talking. And I have actually taken away notifications for subs so that there's no noise playing, but I'll read them out at the end. And after we've had our discussion, we'll interact with chat a little bit, and then we're going to get a game of Modern versus Vince versus me. So it should be a really fun day, but in order to have the most optimal experience, we are going to not be looking at chat while we talk. So this is your last moment of us glancing at chat until we're done with the Magic the Gathering discussion, followed by Modern Match.
People are asking if it's Merfolk versus Dredge. Maybe.
Stick around and I don't know. I mean, so they think you're going to be on Merfolk and I'll be on Dredge? I mean, that makes sense given our brand. That, you know, everybody knows you love Merfolk and I'm a big Dredge fanatic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hardly known for Dredge other than, one dispute we had in one episode when we latched onto it.
Right. We will see. I don't know what deck Vince has selected, and he doesn't know what deck I have selected. So we shall see. But with that, why don't we get right in? And I apologize that there's no skit, but I had a dream about a skit, Vince, and this was my dream. I told you this. And I legitimately dreamt that our skit was that I said, Vince, did you hear about the new Magic the Gathering product? You know the game Mental Magic, where you just say card names to each other and you try and interact that way based on memory and interaction without any physical cards? Well, Wizards of the Coast is monetizing Mental Magic. They're making Mental Magic Masters. It's $200 that you have to pay to them, but then you can play Mental Magic with your friends.
You've ruined it. This could have been a great skip we could have done, because we could have been actually next time we met up, we could have actually played some Mental Magic.
Right.
We could lead up to it, because obviously we took a while to get around to playing Modern, right?
Right.
So wait another year and a half before we actually finally play Mental Magic, and now you've ruined it.
I've gone
Always
and
be contenting, Brian.
Always be contenting. Monetize
ABC.
Everything. Monetize everything.
From feet to eyebrows, right through to Mental Magic. Monetize all of it.
But that's exactly what we're doing here, because I just want to chat with you and hang out with my friend and talk, well, bitch, about Magic, and so we might as well stream it and monetize that. So there we go.
When you said let's talk about Strixhaven, I was like, you say talk. I know for a fact. I tuned into one of your streams where you were just going about how some card pissed you off, and I was like, oh god, this is going to be a riot.
Oh, but which card pissed me off? Which card pissed me off? There's so many. There's so many.
There's so many of them, exactly. I was going to say, there's at least two that you mentioned in the 20 minutes that I was watching, so yeah.
Right. Well, we're going to be starting out today with Strixhaven as our first of 3 topics. How do you feel about Strixhaven so far? I think it's fair to say that anybody claiming this is indeed Harry Potter derivative is absurd, right? There's no Harry Potter in here. I was really worried about that. I did a whole video where I was worried about that, but I think right now that the set is out, we've seen the full set, we're playing with it, that when people are like, oh, it's Voldemort or Hagrid or Hermione, it's like, are you insane? There is no Harry Potterness in this at all? Is that fair, or do you think there's a little bit?
I think so. Like, I want to. So I put on our show notes that we could neither of us could get access to before we started. So never mind. I put in there about how we talked about Eldraine,
right?
And we talked about the Disneyfication, and we were kind of on different sides of that thing. And I want to cast our minds back to that and compare this to Eldraine, where we both count Eldraine thinking, yeah, there was some Disneyfication, there was some folklore, like things that are heavily referenced to the point that there was Monty Python cards,
right?
And they've explicitly avoided that this time. And then they sent Mark Rosewater out to Twitter to convince everyone for like 3 days straight as well. So they've been very, very hard on the "we are not Harry Potter." I'll still make the joke, but it is just that, I think. It's just
a joke.
Point,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because there's no explicit card that's a reference, right? Like, I can't think of one.
The closest you can get, I think, is when you get to the sports arena game that they have. It's not like Quidditch, but the fact that they went so far as to be like mage games in a stadium. That's the one where I start to think a little bit, not of the actual. Like, they're not flying around on broomsticks.
I was going to say, like, I can't even think. I know I've seen the stadium card, obviously. I can't think of what and there's a few of the cards like Epic Play or whatever. Right. But I don't know what the actual sport involves. I assume it's not brooms, right?
Well, the sport seems to be physical, running around and blasting your opponents, which is actually a problem that I had with the set, because at the mage school, they're putting too much of a physicality on the sport, when in fact it should have been about mental magic, to go back to the joke. And I think they missed a really big opportunity. One of the things that did tick me off about Strixhaven in terms of flavor, I like a lot of the flavor, but one of the things that ticked me off is the emphasis on athleticism, attractive, or what we might call stereotypically attractive, able-bodied students, where a college setting is perfect to have a diversity of body types and physicality. And I really wish that we could have had, for example, if you're going to show the sport, and the sport is based off of your mastery of magic, that we could have maybe even, this is a perfect opportunity to have, let's just say, somebody who might be the equivalent of being in a wheelchair or something, being the champion of their sport competition, and the flavor text says it's in Strixhaven Magic, in Strixhaven Ball, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. Strixhaven Ball. In Strixhaven Ball, it isn't about how strong you are, but how smart you are, or something like that. Or also, I just want to see some students who look like me, who aren't like models, who have a couple extra pounds on them. And I really think it's disappointing that all the students are like models, perfect, slim, slender.
Well, there are trolls and there are orcs.
Right.
But that is ironically, they've been dodging this bullet with D&D for a while, where they're like, oh, this is really heavily coded in race. I guess we should move away from that because that's inappropriate. And then they're just like, oh, certain races can't be in certain schools within Strixhaven.
Yeah.
I'm like, oof, okay, that's somehow not just to clarify for everyone in chat, not real world races. I'm talking orcs and trolls and stuff. But still, parallels are there. But the sports thing, I think, is interesting because I think there should be sports in this, and you can't say it's a parallel to Harry Potter as such, because the American college system especially is intrinsically linked to its sports, right? Sports are like really important for college reputations and scholarships and stuff. But I do see what you mean. They could have put a spin on it where it wasn't necessarily the jock archetype and such. And also, I do think there is no disability representation, and you're right, this could have been a good space for it. Ironically, Dicebreakers, a UK website, put out an article today applauding Wizards of the Coast and Magic in general for its representation of people with limbs missing, stuff like that, and how they've got like artificial limbs and how those people are as able-bodied as everyone else. And then, ironically, I was thinking about Strixhaven today in that context. I was like, I can't think if there is anyone.
There doesn't look like there's anyone like that. And I'll be honest, I can't think of a lot of really good. I mean, I haven't read the article, so maybe it's referencing some cards that I'm not coming to mind.
Doomed Artisan is the one they use. It's the one from Commander 2019. He's an artist who has a prosthetic arm.
Yeah.
There is a lot of prosthesis.
There are a
Magic,
lot of
like,
prosthesis.
Yeah.
I wish there were a lot of different body types. I wish that somebody who maybe is, by our social standards, what they might consider to be overweight, can look into a Magic set, especially a school-based one, and see themselves represented in the heroes of that set. I think it's really unpleasant for me to look at that and be like, well, I guess I wouldn't be accepted into Strixhaven because I'm overweight. And I don't like that. And I really think that it was also, and you get into all these arguments about like, well, if we're showing the wilds of Ixalan, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, this is college. Anybody can go to college. And it's all about, I
guess ironically, it's been stronger in previous sets, right? I'm just scrolling through the Strixhaven art as we talk to see if I can put a spot on any. But like hands, and we've had the character hands, a bigger fellow. We've had characters that are unconventional body types by like Hollywood standards, like Saskia and stuff like that. We've had that in Magic. And then we come to Strixhaven, which is, you're right, it is the place where this could probably belong the most. And we've gone back to, well, I guess the closest we've got is elephant people, because I guess I can't.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count. If I'm listen, if I am an overweight player of this game, and I say to you, gee, I really wish I saw a card that looked like me, and you go, well, there's elephant people. I don't think that's the right answer, and I don't think that's, like it's like, oh well, some of those evil Orzhov priests that are big and fat and ugly looking, and it's like, that's not what I'm talking about.
I mean, there's a card for me. There's a literal bear druid who's the professor of zoomancy. That's me. I'm Magic's most famous or infamous bear.
Yes.
So at least I got some,
Yeah. Well, some of us at least did. I certainly didn't.
I, a white cis man, got my representation, Brian. So what does it matter for anyone else?
Yeah. Jesus.
Live and uncut, Brian. Are you regretting it already?
Oh, indeed. What about the actual mechanics and gameplay, though? We've just been talking about flavor.
So something I've noticed coming into the set is that I was all hyped for Strixhaven. I was hyped by the setting and the flavor and the theme and all this sort of stuff and these new mechanics and things. And I've come in, and in the last 4 to 5 days, I've just stumbled over into the Strixhaven party, and strewn all over the floor is just like mystical archives and historic. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not seeing any impact of these cards in standard. There's people literally, I think Saffron Olive was tweeting about how there seems to be minimal impact of these in standard. There's not been that huge amount of impact in Modern and Legacy yet, but we are early doors. The most that I've seen people talking about is obviously the effect these are having on Arena. So honestly, today after the stream, I'm going to be streaming with Elite Spellbinder, the Paulo card. But I'm not sure if this set's going to have a huge impact going forward, because I just don't think the power level's there.
I think that that's to be expected when you do a power down set. I think that after Throne of Eldraine, people maybe it's one of those take your medicine things where maybe you don't like it in the moment, but everybody who might be complaining about the low power level of Strixhaven were probably complaining about the high power level of Throne of Eldraine, as we did on an episode of Dice to Removal.
I mean, don't get me wrong. What I said wasn't a value judgment; it's more of an observation. I think this is the correct way to go. I liked it back in the day when we had ups and downs of power level, as opposed to just a vertical climb where I'm like, please, I want off, as like cards getting banned like first week. So there will be no banning on week 1,
right?
For the
or even as we saw with Omnath, where they were basically banning it before actual paper standard play began. It's like preemptive bans thanks to Arena results. Maybe that's why they got rid of early access. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But as we said before, that the two things that are killing or are ruining Magic today, one of them is power creep and the other is underpowered sets. So it's like, if they do a powerful set, we're going to complain that it's powerful. If they do an underpowered set, we're going to complain that it's underpowered. I think that we do need to ebb and flow and go up and down and take your medicine and have it too. I actually think the biggest problem isn't the power level in Strixhaven. What I'm having a big issue with is complexity creep. Not power creep, but complexity creep. Do you think that this is maybe just me? I know I'm a little bit more casual than you, but I feel like, and I've been playing paper, I took home a bunch of pre-release kits from local game stores, and I've been getting a lot of paper games. And when you don't have the computer thinking for you, we're sitting here, my wife and I and such, playing with these pre-release kits, and it's like, Wow, that's a lot of words on there to not really do much.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because like, we're talking about complexity creep, but I'd argue that the majority of cards in the set aren't that complicated compared to older cards. They just tend to do more, which is a form of complexity, right? Because I've had people argue against this in my Discord saying, oh, they're not complicated once you read them. I'm like, yeah, but once we've read like 6 of these cards, like it slows the game down. There's a cognitive load to how much I can read. I was joking only recently about Kaldheim in Cube Draft. I still hadn't read one of the gods by the end of like Kaldheim's time and standard, because it's just too much text. It's not worth my time. So I agree with you. This set is incredibly wordy, and there's a cognitive load to that.
I think complexity,
especially with the flip cards too, right?
Yeah, that too. Cards. I mean, I like modal.
That's the issue. More and more words on one side, and you flip it over, and there's like equal number of words on the other. Take them apart, they might not be any more wordy than previous cards, but when you combine them together, and also you can't see that half. So I've got to ask my opponent, oh, sorry, what does the back half do again?
Right.
About that, and yeah, there is a bogged down element to paper. In digital, you can right click on the card and it'll show you the other side. And I do think that might be. That's just the world we live in now, right? They're designing for both.
Well, no, they're not. I disagree. They're not designing for both. They're designing for Arena. Paper can go secret layer alert itself.
What about Commander? Like they haven't got Commander on Arena,
right?
So
okay.
You can't Magic is Commander.
Magic is a 100 card game and a 40 card game, but it's not a 60 card game, right? That's what it is.
Kinda.
And so we're talking about draft, which boy oh boy is that next for the chop. That's another discussion. And so it's just commander or bust. But
the irony being though that so I've had this whole conversation today, Brian, that the Magic subreddits and all the free to players claim that draft is the way that you should how you interact with the economy of Arena. And my argument is that doesn't work for someone like me who wants to play a lot of construction, who wants to play historic.
Right.
Any new player trying to get into historic right now, it costs them upwards of $300, $400 to build even one deck. It is actually that bad. But
that's actually better than I thought it to be. I'm not doing a joke. No, I'm not doing a joke here. I honestly would expect the numbers to be bigger than that. I made a comment on a previous.
They may well be. To be fair, they may well be. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, but you're right, because you have to get all the wild cards. You have to crack a lot of packs to get the wild cards.
Yeah, it's outrageously expensive to play constructed anything on Arena, and
but the freemium community is saying that is how you interact with Arena, is sealed and draft. So it's interesting that we've got this like purveying idea that draft is dying. If they do that, the freemium community are going to leave the game, and then who is left playing this bloody program? Because it's not going to be the new constructed players. They can't get into the formats.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's a huge thing. Getting a little bit back to the idea of Strixhaven, one thing I also noticed, again, where we're talking about this was designed for Arena, not designed for paper. I'm sitting down with my paper cards pre-release kit, and I got some of the modal dual face ones. Now, I, of course, have taken one of the wild cards and written the names on it, but I'm sitting there with my hand, and I have no idea what each side does because they're each like a phone book's worth of text. And so I'm sitting there and I have to go, all right, honey, hang on. And I pick up my two-sided card and read both sides. And then my opponent now knows what I've got in my hand, even if I don't cast it. There's no, it's so much more than like the flip cards of Innistrad, where also you do have to cast the face side first. I love modal cards, but I don't think modal cards, modal dual-faced cards, work well with these giant complexity creep creatures in the same way that they do with like the modal dual-faced lands.
Yeah.
Mwah, chef's kiss. Modal dual-faced simple cards, a simple, bolt 2, pump 2, sort of whatever.
Well, that's
fine.
the thing as well. They're exploring the space, which they do with every mechanic, right? Where you have a card that flashes back, it does the same thing. You have a card that flashes back, this is in the old day, it does a bigger version of that thing.
Right.
Then you get to the point where they start really playing with it. It flashes back, it does a completely different thing. If this is flashback, make a spider, where originally it was a bolt or whatever. Now we're getting to that point already, and MDFC has only been around for 3 sets?
Yeah.
We're already getting to the point where either side is like mirror opposites of each other, or doing contrasting things, like the Deans that are like 2 different characters. They synergize subtly, but on the whole, they are mechanically very different cards. So then, you can't even look at the front half and be like, oh, the back half's probably a similar thing, or the back half is some form of land. It's not that anymore. Everything is permitted.
It's complexity creep. And I think it's very problematic because it makes it so that what we're doing is we're substituting complexity for power. And a lot of the cards, they boil down to really kind of simple effects. Like we said, these cards are not dominating in standard. It's not like, whoa, Strixhaven is so powerful, it's just wiping the Throne of Eldraine cards off the map. So what you're getting is harder to grok or memorize cards that do less, which I do not think is a good combination. I think that Magic's strength in the early days, and this also has a lot to do with art design and things like that, but they wanted it so you just glance at a card and you know what it does. And now, I couldn't tell you, you used the example of one of the sagas, like try going back right now by memory and saying what some of the Kaldheim sagas do. Try saying by memory what some of these cards do. This is bad long-term for the game because then cards are becoming forgotten, which is not what you want. You want cards to be memorable, to leave an impression, to become iconic, to become these distinguished things of the game. Yeah. And I don't know what's what anymore.
I mean, I've always had a problem with card names as a personal thing.
Yeah.
And it always used to be, though, mechanically, if someone said to me, oh, it's the 2-1 that does X, but I get it, I know what it is.
Yeah.
We're getting to a point now where someone can't say it's the 2-1 does X because I might forget what the backside of it did. Yeah, it's getting to a point where I just don't know if I'll be able to remember half of these cards.
Yeah.
And I'm going, it's kind of wild. I think on the power level thing, they might be strong enough for standard, and we might see them going forward in the Eternal formats. The problem with standard at the moment is that Throne of Eldraine was so pushed that like everything dies to Bone Crusher Giant, and nothing can attack through some of the stuff from that and Zendikar as well. So once those sets rotate, we'll start to really see if these cards can shine. But we've had that in the past, so that's not really an alarming thing. But I do think the number of words per card, someone's got to graph it out at some point, and it'll probably turn out that per card is not even that much of an increase,
right?
But it feels like an increase.
Yes.
And if the whole community is like, this is the problem, right? Are we all feeling that together? Or is it a meme where like it gains traction and we're just like, haha, it's Harry Potter. There's so many words. Like,
right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm very fearful of that, you know.
I think complexity creep is legitimate, and it isn't just me. I mean, I know I am the old man who yells at cloud, but I'm not just, it's not arbitrary. This is happening, and I do think that it takes away from enjoyment of the game. That being said, I still enjoy the game. I've been having a lot of fun playing Strixhaven. I think Strixhaven Limited is great.
It's
and I'm not
so
even a big
good.
Limited player, but I've been enjoying Limited quite a lot.
We talk about complexity, and I think that's added to the limited environment, because I normally don't like Limited very much.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is so complicated in some ways, that's the ones I like. Time Spiral Remastered was one of them. All the master sets, I love those, but they're powerful and complicated. And this feels that way, because you're learning for things like your sideboard, and cards have like 15 different modes and stuff. It's heavy. I don't think I'd want to play like a whole GP of this. I guess you'd train before that, but...
Wait, whole what?
Sorry. I forgot about the Bernstein Bears like Mandela effect. I come from a universe where we used to have organized play where we got to play Limited at events.
Organized.
I'm sorry you never got to actually witness the majesty of that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Limited, is that a new Commander variant?
Limited? So how do you feel about, in terms of Limited especially, the fact that both Time Spiral Remastered and this have had cards from other sets injected into them, and sometimes your opponent just happens to have a Primeval Titan or a Channel?
Yeah, it's absurd. Time Spiral Remastered is a bit of a different beast, but in Strixhaven, I was shocked when they revealed the mystical, I keep wanting to call it the mythical archive. Kudos to Wizards for not calling it the mythical archive. Also, kudos to Wizards for not making each card, well, actually, I almost would have preferred them to make each card redeemed for a mythic instead of a rare on Bloody Magic Arena.
Oh yeah, don't get me started. Hold up, we can't give them kudos, Brian. They're like, we can't call it mythical, and someone's like, change one of the letters. So they're like, okay, mystical.
Mystical.
Like, it's too close. You don't like it? Because I love it. I actually love.
It's fun, but I feel that I wish that I could stipulate that I wanted to do a draft where we don't use the Mystical Archive cards to experience Strixhaven. I feel that they do what I like least about Planeswalkers. So, for example, one of the pre-release kits that we opened up had a Planeswalker in it, and basically as soon as it resolved, the whole game was about whether or not I could get rid of that Planeswalker. And I feel that, now this isn't true for every Mystical Archive card, but for a lot of them, it's just like, wow, I've been playing Strixhaven, and then, you resolve this way overpowered Mystical Archive card that then pretty much cinches up the game for you, or swings it heavily in your way. And I wish I could just enjoy Strixhaven.
Yeah, it's cool. Busted, they still dominate you're right though. They still dominate like the memories, the narrative. Like I said, I've walked into the Strixhaven party expecting all these new Strixhaven cards, and it's just cups filled with mystical archives. Yeah, historic. That's all I'm playing with. And I can think about it now. The most fun, not all of it, but a lot of the fun I had on the previous event of the weekend was because of mystical archives. So I think you're right. It does detract from a lot of the design and the world building and the high amount of effort that goes into it, because these cards will shine above those, right?
I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised Wizards didn't say that you take your Mystical Archive card out and that's yours to keep, and that you could choose to draft with them, but that that there should be a mode. There should be a mode called you open your pack, you take your Mystical Archive card out, and then you begin your draft. And I think that's cool. I actually think the Mystical Archive is brilliant. It's actually driving, and I feel sales. I think that more people are buying Strixhaven for Mystical Archives than they are for Strixhaven, which is both good and bad. Yeah.
On this podcast, and complained that they took away lottery cards, they took away extra bonuses, they cut away parts of the meat to sell back to us, right? We've sat there and complained about it. So I have to put my hands up and say they're doing the right thing by putting these things back in.
I agree. I think Mystical Archive is great. I just am surprised for draft. That's all. And I'm not saying I don't love occasionally when I'm the one casting it, but I do feel that Strixhaven is being lost. People are, I know people, and they're like, I want to get one of every, Mystical Archive, and one of every Japanese alternate art Mystical Archive, and one of every foil of each of those, so I have a play set of this and that, and they're just burning through, which is great for sales and everything. But then you combine this with the fact that, and I'm really curious your opinion on this. Oh, actually, I'm very curious your opinion on this because you're not in the USA. In the USA, we didn't get draft booster boxes at our pre-release. We only got set booster boxes and some draft packs for prize support. But a lot of people go down at pre-release and they take home a draft booster box to go draft with friends or build sealed with friends, and you in the USA could not do that with Strixhaven. You had to take a set booster box, and set boosters you can't draft with and you can't play sealed with. And this is their experiment, though I'm hearing from some store owners writing me that we're seeing an even bigger swing in this direction for the next set, that we're about to see. This is the new normal, which is that draft boosters are a specialty product.
The UK is a bit weird at the moment because we didn't get to do pre-release events, so because we're still in a lockdown where stores can't hold events.
Well, not hold events, but you couldn't go pick up pre-release packs at your store and take them home.
Yeah. So I use pre-release packs I got through the mail and stuff like that. I know that all the creators are getting sent out set boosters by WotC because I guess they want to push that as well. I don't know. I asked my store. That's funny. I spoke to my store via DMs about Warhammer and Flesh and Blood in the last 24 hours. Haven't spoken about the standard booster. That's so funny. I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay. Great. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, Vince.
Yeah, no worries. If that's all I'm here for, Brian, that's
right.
Great. I'm not sure, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if we've got Bugger All, though, considering how Jumpstart went here and other formats, other sets as well.
Yeah.
And the distribution. But again, maybe there's stuff we don't know about with Brexit and COVID and stuff.
Right. Fair enough. Well,
but do you think that draft boosters going away is I think it's negative then?
Yes, I think it's very bad. I actually really regret that when set boosters came out, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I interpreted the product as this is a product made for somebody that wants to approach pack cracking as gambling, and I gave it a good review based on that thesis. But I didn't look at it as a replacement for draft boosters, and as a
I was going to say, you are the reason they're doing this, right?
Oh yes, I've killed Magic the Gathering.
The set booster's going to say A+ by the Prof.
I just said I said A-, and I said A-, and I said based on the premise that this is a product for gamblers.
Right. So
I said great for gamblers.
Great for gamblers, and the gamblers is covered by a sword of Elspeth or something.
Right.
The A+, I think, is the Portuguese one. They misprinted the grade.
Right.
The Portuguese wrappers. Right. That's where I've seen it.
But as a replacement for draft, I think it's terrible because you can't play the game with set boosters.
Oh, and it drives me mad you can't draft set boosters. Why can they not be put into a chaos draft? Well, they can be put into a chaos draft, but it messes everything up. I hate it.
Yeah, and there's no reason to do that. If they want to make the there's a chance at extra stuff. They could still have. Now, remember I said a moment ago, what if you opened a Strixhaven draft booster and you take the Mystical Archive card out, put it down aside, and then do your draft? Why can't they still have the same draft components of a draft pack and then a bonus pile? And the bonus pile is what, if you draft, you take down. Maybe you throw it in the pot for a big communal win. Whoever wins gets to take that pot home, or that's just your bonus, and then you can still crack them for this.
I don't have the technology. There's just no way to put more than 15 cards in a booster.
Right.
I mean, everyone, don't look at Jumpstart. Don't look at Jumpstart. There's just no way. They do not have the technology. The printers can't do it.
What's Jumpstart? I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a mystery booster to me. Jumpstart is a mystery booster to me. Time Spiral.
Again, you're from the universe where we got limited GPs.
Yeah.
You got Jumpstart. Different universes. And we've now collided.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I really don't like that we're moving into Pokemon territory. Pokemon is a product that the majority of people don't play the game. They just buy the packs to crack for the cards they want. And I think Magic is headed sharply in that direction. Buy the packs, crack them, get your cards. There isn't a game to be played. Collector's boosters are not to be played with. You can't play with collector's boosters. Set boosters are replacing essentially draft packs. They are not to be played with. Draft packs are coming in tiny ratio, which means the price is going to go up on them. We're seeing this already with Strixhaven here in the US. Draft booster box is more than it usually costs because the allocation and print run is dramatically less. And like I said, I'm starting to hear from store owners that the next set, it's even more just they're printing set boosters, and it's going to be a very, very small print run of draft boosters. It's looking terrible in that regard. I can't believe it's happening, and it's just called cool. Magic isn't to be played anymore; it's to be opened. And
well, this kind of goes into our next topic little bit. But Wizards of the Coast want to chase what is the golden goose at the time, right? So a year or two ago, maybe 3 years ago, they started this plan of esports is big, like Hearthstone and stuff's popular. Let's just go down the esports route. And now, during the current time, we're seeing that Pokemon's exploding again, and collectibles are exploding, and collectible markets are up by 380% or whatever they said in their stupid shareholder call thing. So now they're like, "Oh, abandoned ship!" They're like, "Why are we trying for esports when we can just do collectibles?" Which then we haven't balanced the game. We have no balancing problems. We have no problems with a representation in our top 32 players. We have problems with price support or cutting said price support from players. They get rid of a lot of those complications as long as they can avoid the gambling tax, right? So I think that's the new golden goose they're chasing. Will that change in 3 years' time when it turns out that NFTs or augmented reality games explode on the market and then every Magic card's augmented reality? Who knows, Brian? But that's the current golden goose, right? Collectibles. The more collectibles, the better.
Well, also, and I'm going to be perfectly honest here, I'm not saying this as one of my usual snarky mockeries of Wizards of the Coast. I really mean this in a sincere way. It sounds a little snarky. A lot of that's just coming out of my mouth, but that I just have this natural intonation, I think. But honest to God, I don't mean this in a snarky way. I mean in a sincere way. Doing esports is hard. And I think Wizards was like, cool, we'll film that commercial, The World Will Know, which is currently unlisted on the Magic Esports page. So they took that big, giant, The World Will Know with Sir Mix-a-Lot, big hype and everything. And they're like, take it down. It's unlisted. Better download it before they delete it. And so it's like, it turned out that running esports was really, really hard. And they had a lot of stumbles along the way. And then they're like, oh, wait, we don't even have a competitive mode on this thing? Well, can we add one? No, that's hard too. That's hard. And we got to get the cameras on. That's hard. And then how does the structure work? Well, explaining it is hard, and organizing it is hard, and naming it is hard. And it turns out it's really hard. And it's a company that has got a lot of really, really, really old people that have been working at it for a really, really long time. And I don't mean that as ageism, but I do mean it as it's like, oh gosh, you're not this cutting edge Wizards of the Coast. You're not this cutting edge digital game. You gotta just relax.
They never needed to be a cutting edge digital game. This is me pushing to the core. I'm sure Chat and yourself will agree with this. But Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering had a competitive scene, right? And for those of you who don't know, over lockdown, I've got super into Warhammer. So there's some weird comparisons you can make where they have just started having a competitive scene growing. Don't say that to a Warhammer player. They get offended if you say they're like a fledgling, but they are. They haven't really had events like Magic has ever had. And very recently, their mother company, Games Workshop, started doing meta-analysis articles for the first time ever. And they're doing like errata on rules, like on a monthly to 2 monthly basis to try and keep it competitive. And they've started to care. And it's really funny to see this company that was considered to be a load of old men who've never even been on the internet, Brian, suddenly be like, oh, I guess competitive gaming's a market we can appeal to.
Yeah.
They started doing it while Wizards just fumble the ball and drop that. And then they go for the esports, and they're now possibly, I'm not saying dropping, choose my words wisely, fumbling around with that, when we already had a big competitive circuit with Pro Tours and GPs and a thing that
it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work.
Sure, but it worked. And other games want that now. Other games,
and they're going to take it.
Like tabletop games want that.
They're going to take it, and they're going to take it. And Wizards of the Coast has walked away from organized play. They're slowly just letting it die out. I mean, look at what happened. Basically, if they were to just say, we're done, the reaction would be large. So what they're saying is we're just going to let it kind of fade away. And it's things like, what was your impression of the Wizards big tournament week before last that they had? I didn't even know it was happening. I didn't realize it was on. I didn't know what it was.
I used to watch the Pro Tour. I used to get
I tuned in every week. I tuned in.
Yeah. Nowadays, I don't even know what's happening.
My game store would put it up on the thing, and I didn't
know. We watch it at FNM, yeah.
I didn't know what the stakes were. Apparently, stakes were big. A lot of people got demoted, and then Wizards put out an obituary for them, which was not received well. So it's just
that was awful, in my personal opinion.
Yes.
Taken out of context, they literally read like people have passed away, which is awful.
And they confused players for other players, which was also awful. Like, again, I did like watching competitive play, but I'm not the biggest competitive player. And even I was like, wait, that's not what she's known for. Wait. No. And it's just like, oh man, what a debacle.
It's also really telling that it'd be interesting to go back and watch last year's investor conference when Magic came up, if there was ever any talk of an esports push and the arena client and digital Magic. Because this year's one of that was borderline no mention. There's maybe a mention of digital sales are up, and that was it.
Right.
So it's interesting because the transition in this one was they talked about direct to consumer sales. That means skipping out the LGS for folks at home who don't know what that means. And they're talking about Hasbro Pulse and how they sold the shoes through Hasbro Pulse and so on and so on. Yeah. That was the focus. They can grow those markets. There's no talk of a competitive scene bringing people into the digital client and that sort of stuff. It's all about collectibles directly to people. Secret Lair, shoes and stuff like that.
I guarantee you, I would bet you my income on this. They have had the meeting, like actually had the meeting where they said in the meeting these words. Guarantee this has happened. So we had no GPs because of pandemic. We had no Magic Fests because of pandemic. We had very little emphasis on organized play because of pandemic. How were our sales as a result? Higher than they've ever been. Extraordinary. Great.
Yeah.
How much does all that stuff cost? Money. Great. There's no reason to have this. And I guarantee you, when we return from pandemic, Star City Games might put on organized play. Channel Fireball, independent of Wizards of the Coast, might have organized their own organized play circuit. Wizards of the Coast might do an event. But we will never, the pandemic could end 100%, a miracle. Space aliens come down, wave a magic device, and it just, COVID goes away. We're all clean and safe and everything. And they even get rid of the flu and body odor. And so we can have conventions again. Wizards would say, well, we don't need to pay for that. Let Channel Fireball pay for that. Let Star City Games pay for that. We don't need to. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Maybe they'll do an event to be like, oh, we can do an event again, or an event to a year. But they're just, it's so much work and so much hassle, and it doesn't do anything. That let's just release another secret layer. Let's just make people pay money to then buy secret layers in addition to the money they paid.
And whilst that sounds very dooming,
and you're all going to do it, every one of you watching it right now, there's at least half of you in this goddamn chat that are going to pay that stupid subscription fee. I know it, and I put my finger of shame on each of you. Please like and subscribe.
Let's go. They'll make it like a value proposition you just can't refuse, right?
Right.
The thing is, though, this is not as doom and gloom as we make it sound, or at least you make it sound. I'm much more big than you are because you're an old cynic shouting clouds, and I'm only 21 and I'm younger than sprightly.
I'm also only 21.
Yeah, and some change, as the Americans would say. But like grassroots tournament circuits are a thing that can happen. Like
Sure.
I talked a minute ago about Games Workshop and Warhammer and be like, here's the meta analysis.
Oh, yeah.
They aren't holding any events though, for the most part. It's other companies that do it and then report information to them. That's probably where we're going with Magic. And that's not a terrible thing because it means that we might get a variety of stuff. We also will get choices that care more about the older formats as well, if those companies can see them as profitable, where Wizards obviously have a very bad relationship with their older formats because they think they can't profitize, they can't monetize them. So yeah, I think a grassroots thing might be actually better in the long run. Because people are always complaining about its OP. We're saying that Organized Play is gone, Brian.
Right.
But I can remember when people were just moaning incessantly about how bad Organized Play was. And now I'm like, no, go back. I'm hitting the go back button. Go back.
Undo. Remember when we did an entire episode of Dice to Removal about the artist boycott of GPs, and that was a big thing?
Yeah. Wow.
That's another world. But no, and I think that the grassroots organization of competitive Magic is a great thing and a great idea, and something that it's like, fine, we don't need Wizards of the Coast to do this. And you're right too about things like eternal formats where, oh wow, maybe we'll get the equivalent of a legacy GP that a card store in the Northwest wants to put on because they're known for vintage and legacy cards. They're going to sell it there. Remember when Wizards was, I believe the term is gaslighting us about like, oh, well, the legacy numbers, and like they had that legacy GP that actually performed amazing, and they were trying to diminish how it did so much better than the recent standard ones, things like that. Yep. Nobody's showing up to the Brawl paper events, and then they release Brawl decks and say that half the people are playing paper Brawl and all this nonsense. And so getting rid of Wizards of the Coast's involvement with organized play maybe will be a boon. And I'm sure that was part of the meeting as well, where they said there's nothing stopping big companies like Star City Games from having their circuit. Why are we paying any money on this? Just do some more secret layers. And I think that's the way we're going. But you're going to see all this stuff, like they're just not getting any bang for their buck on like the MPL, but that's because they're mismanaging it. And you look towards that event the week before last, and they had, I think, peak of like 6,000 viewers where we didn't know what was going on. And then the very next weekend, and just a guy, Jeff Hoagland, put on his tournament and got 20,000 people watching because he did a good job. And it's just a guy in his basement. And he did a better job than the multi-billion-dollar corporation did with their own game. He literally beat them at their own game. I mean, and like, regardless of what you think of Jeff and stuff, I'm more just highlighting the point.
I was only laughing because I didn't see any of the promo because obviously I'm blocked on Twitter, so I didn't see any of it.
Stop. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. That's not the point.
We're not going into that. We're not going into that. I was like, I only saw it when people started comparing it to the Kaldheim thing after the fact.
20,000 views. Now, that was because he got on the front page, but he got on the front page because everybody was watching and engaged and all of that stuff. He didn't have to do, like what WotC did, which was buy view bots. Why aren't the paid view bots watching the official Magic Arena tournaments anymore? That's what I don't know. Why have they lost interest? Why have those view bots lost interest where we were getting numbers? Remember, it was like 100,000 people are watching the streamer.
Again, no return on investment, right? And they also probably can't see exactly what the ROI is on one of those bots.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I guess we'll just stop.
100,000 people are watching.
No one will notice.
Right.
But the upside of the grassroots or other people doing it, like you said, is like Jeff will put on a better production or better show that will invite
it was
more,
great.
more
It was
viewers
a great production.
Exactly. Or in the case of like Legacy, for example, we just have people put on events where like the reserve list cards can be proxied, because at that point they don't have to do anything that Wizards want them to do because they're not affiliated. So we might actually have improvements to formats, not like both viewing formats and playing formats.
That's actually brilliant. So let's say I'm a store. Let's say I'm one of those like what is it? Is it NRG? I don't know the store up in the Northwest. They're very popular. They were doing their own event series right before the pandemic too.
What, in Scotland?
No, in Northwest United States. That's all.
You said Northwest. I was like,
whatever.
Scotland?
So they're up there. They're up there, and they like legacy events. They want to put on a legacy event, and they go, but we're not in any way affiliated with Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast doesn't do organized plays. They go, okay, you have an 8 proxy limit in your deck, and that means that everybody can go down and play. What a way to save legacy is there. They can even start selling. Did you see Proxy Guy had these great high-end proxies that you can use as substitutes, while proxying your card, and they're just beautiful, and you can get your favorite artist to alter it. Legacy 2.0,
I don't know if Wizards would pull out their lawyers out of the drawers if they see people selling proxies.
I don't think Wizards would like it. But Wizards turn their back. They turn their backs. They don't care.
But the whole point that when you start to allow people to proxy and stuff as well, the reserve list cards won't go down in price; they'll just go up. Because as we've seen, people don't even care. They could print new ones tomorrow, no one cares. They want the old ones, right?
I don't care. I don't care if the reserve list cards go up in price if I can then just proxy some and sit down and get a game, and the rest of my deck isn't expensive. The rest of my deck's affordable, so I don't care. So then everybody, oh my God, Vince, you know what that means? Everybody wins. The people who see Magic as an investment and have invested in reserve list cards win. The people who held on to their cards since high school win. The people who would like to start playing Legacy today win. The people who were playing Legacy yesterday win. Legacy is being played. Legacy is growing. People don't have to spend the money. People are making money. Everybody wins, Vince.
There's one entity that doesn't win, and that's Wizards of the Coast. They will see no
even better.
But this is what will happen. They'll see no cut. They'll be like, oh no, what have we done? Okay. Organised plays back on the menu and the reserve list is gone as they start to reprint reserve list cards and they realize they can monetize it. That's the kind of thing that would happen.
Or they say organized play is gone, and if you do proxying, we're going to ban you, or whatever. There's
always a butterfly. There's always a butterfly that Wizards is chasing. It's esports for a while, now it's collectibles. And if they see tournament circles coming up where people are buying proxies and stuff on the secondary market and things, they'll be like, oh, well, better secret layer up those Lion's Eye diamonds, then that'll be the next butterfly.
Yeah.
It's complete nonsense.
Well, in many ways, secret layers were a response to them seeing how much people were spending to get their cards altered, to get that sort of stuff done. And they're like, why don't we just sell them cards that look different and look wild and look fancy and have Darth Vader or Rick and Morty on it or whatever? But that is another discussion.
Yeah, that's for perhaps another episode. That is perhaps another episode.
I'm going to close out the section on organized play by saying that I have always felt organized play, while expensive and difficult to put on, is one of the best things for the game of Magic. It's what drives interest in the new set. It's what drives people down to play the game at local game stores. It's what drives a lot of content and articles. And even if you just play casual Commander, having that ecosystem thriving and chugging along and people being interested, it's all connected. And I think WotC is looking at it in a very big way. Look, and I've made this illusion before. I could look at, I'll tell you the truth. I could look at dies to removal, and I could say, hey, dies to removal is really expensive for me to make. When there isn't pandemic, I got to fly you out. I pay you for your time. I have a sound editor because we use more advanced stuff than my usual stuff, and so I have to pay them for sound editing on that. And so what the episode brings in revenue is pale in comparison to what it costs to put on. And so I go, so why am I making the show? Why make the show at all? And I think that that's a mistake, because you go, well, wait a minute. What about the other shows you make that make far more than they cost to put on, or that encourage people to go into Patreon and donate money and all that stuff? And so it's all part of this larger benefit. And it makes, I feel, losing money on producing dies to removal makes some of my other videos that make money perform better because of the energized community that comes here for the high quality of content. Same thing with when I do a skit with cosplayers. I spend so much money to pay them for their time, effort, fly them out, all that stuff. And it's like that. It makes a pizza.
It's like pizza, or just like a lattice, or like a patchwork quilt. Like, I spent time today making a short or two for YouTube that make no money because you should just monetize them properly yet. Right. But I know for a fact they will improve not just engagement in the dirty sense of the word, but my Patreon users will like it, and the Discord will like it, and
the strength of your channel, and the strength of your channel, that it's not just oh, Vince, all he does is this one type of video, but there's this whole patchwork of things, and it all grows itself. And it's the same thing where it's like, well, why are we spending money? When you go back to that meeting, that I know they had this meeting where they said, if our sales are bigger than ever and we didn't have organized play, why should we spend the money on organized play? And the answer is because our sales are bigger than ever, in many ways because of the lifetime of organized play, where our products are selling great because we built this community. And by cutting off organized play, then in 5 years our sales will not be that great because it's all faded down.
you've got to. There's a reason that Magic has always been so successful and resonate with people, and you probably can't put it down to any one thing. Perhaps it's setting, perhaps it's mechanics, but like it's strong, organized play is definitely, like we are saying, part of that like structure. It's part of the cohesive whole to get to this point now. And I do believe it's people toward the upper end who are just making brash decisions, chasing a butterfly. To get to this point now and just like can off stuff because it's not making explicitly X amount of money, or it's not observable how much money it's making you or how much reach it's getting you. That is so short-sighted and so ignorant to like the legacy of a game that somehow has survived, considering most card games die out in a year, right? There's only like 2, 3, maybe 4 card games that have ever like existed like this, or even close to this. This is the biggest one, or the longest one. So to go in now, chase the butterfly, and just can off parts of its legacy, it's disrespectful to the players that are committed to it because it's a lifestyle hobby, right? But it's also just really short-sighted, and it really
bad business. And then you get to, okay, so the next set coming out is Modern Horizons, and then you say, I'm going to say this: why does anybody need Modern? There's no modern. There's no modern competitive play. There's no modern events. So it's Modern Horizons, and it's going to be one of the most expensive sets ever. It's looking like it's really going to be. They're pumping up the price on this, and people are going to buy it. But in that meeting, someone should say, "Wait, why is anybody buying Modern?" Well, they want to get the fetch lands. Okay, but the reason why we were screaming to reprint the fetch lands is because we wanted to go play Modern at events at our local game store with friends. And now, like, I almost am going to say this, Vince, who the hell gives a damn about fetch lands? Because what do I need them for? I don't need them for Commander. And it's just kind of like, if you're not going to be doing Modern events, if you're not going to be promoting Modern, you're just going to come out with these ridiculously overpriced packs that are trying to make Modern rotate, and then fetch. It's like, who cares? And now I'm going to apply that in a general sense to a larger idea, which is that then it's going to be secret layer, get these special things, and it's like, well, who cares? Because there's nowhere to play the game. And if there's nowhere to play the game, they're like, oh, people play it at their kitchen table.
You are right. So there's this phrase that gets thrown around called reprint equity, and I'll define it very quickly for people who are in chat or watching the VOD and don't understand. Reprint equity being they've got a set amount of equity in staples that they use a little bit of for each set to lure in the masses, right?
Yeah.
If they put everything into one set, they diminish the equity heavily.
Yes.
And that equity is built out of staples for formats. Now, Commander definitely drives that, and I think that's where their perspective is now, is that they can just monetize Commander. But of course, other formats drive that too. And what we've seen with Arena and also the saturation of like booster product is that standard staples don't carry the value they once did, because who's playing standard and paper a lot of the time, and there's just tons of the stuff being opened because everyone's searching for the lottery cards. So older formats create that. And I think there'll be a price memory element. Like some cards just never go down in value because people just perceive them to be too much and won't let them go for too little. And fetch lands will have that. But if we get to this point where like organized play and like competitive formats sort of die off, which I don't think they will. I think Grassroots will keep them alive. But you're right. They can't garnish any more of that equity except for with Commander. But as we can see in every set, right? The legendaries, the increased focus on legendaries and stuff. That is where they're going with it. That's what they're trying to do. And it's kind of working frustratingly. It'd be good if they stumbled and had to readjust.
It's working for now, but I believe that the reason why a lot of this is working is an aftershock. What Magic had built and created for itself over those 25 years was so powerful that them doing these secret layers and them doing all of these specialty sets is just caught fire. But I believe that the fire caught because of a lot of the fuel that had been built up in the tanks, and I think it's going to burn out. And I'm going to end with this section as we move on to the next with this statement, and this will be a topic of our next dice to removal. I think we did a dice to removal right when Commander was starting to show these signs. I think people have made lists of all the things we predicted that were correct, and it's actually really impressive that we saw a lot of things correctly. And one of them was before a lot of other people, we said, we literally have an episode titled Commander is the Future of Magic the Gathering. And that certainly came true, but now I'm going to say this. But Commander is the future of Magic the Gathering, and yet Magic the Gathering cannot survive on Commander alone. Commander can be the big pond that everyone is in, but it can't just be Commander. It won't last. It won't work. And there's a host of reasons to that, but we'll save that for another episode, because as we were talking about Strixhaven, as we were talking about Draft, Limited, Magic Arena, something really weird happened, which is that they cut early access streamer event at the last minute without any planning, without any word, and the future, not just of organized play, is being discussed, but the future of Magic the Gathering content creators and their relationship with Wizards of the Coast. This was one of the most popular programs going on. Streamers from big-sized audiences to just small, local, tight-knit community. You got 30 people in stream, stuff like that. Loved this event, and their audiences loved it. They could post tangible numbers that we could see. Magic the Gathering on Twitch went from, right below Super Mario Brothers 3, where it's normally hovering, to being actively watched by 5 times as many people. Everybody loved this event. Pack codes were given out. And then all of a sudden, literally at the last minute, they say, oh, by the way, we're not doing it, too bad.
Literally the last minute, by the way. People who haven't heard about this yet, I did not do a video on it.
People took time off work. I thought your video was excellent. So people can link to it in chat. Yeah. But people took time off work to spend the day advertising for Wizards of the Coast.
And they found out literally the evening before for some time zones, because this is a worldwide thing, the morning of for other people. I woke up to this.
Yeah.
I woke up to it. I was like, what?
Yeah. And make no mistake, early access streamer, people taking a day off work to spend the day playing Magic Arena, that's them taking the day off work to advertise for Wizards of the Coast. And make no mistake, this is the fan base advertising and hyping up the product that Wizards of the Coast profits off of. And they went and said, nah, we're not doing it. Now, never mind the callousness and cruelty to the streamers. Why do they not care? Remember, big corporation. Yes.
As you go into this, I want to make it abundantly clear, by the way. It's not just us, because I got this in my comments a bit. It's not just us being content creators complaining we didn't get something for free a day's early access. Like, for example, I don't think you streamed it.
I've never once. I don't do it. Exactly. I would never would.
Well, I took part quite often, but I would stream a few hours and maybe make a video in this way. I was more frustrated to see smaller content creators who I know what they were doing.
Very heartbreaking. Before, right?
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is the one day that I'd actually get numbers on Twitch. I'll get raided by, because people would raid each other, then they'd raid each other, and there's like the community was going around Twitch. People would play against other creators and meet other creators, and it'd start a networking thing. Viewers would check out other people's streams because they saw a cool deck. Like, it was one of the best collaborative experiences for the whole community to get involved with streaming and playing. So this is not just me saying I want my day of early access. That is not what we're doing here.
No.
Okay, so why?
Why? So here's the thing. Everything about this seems to be good for the company. So from a very broad, basic perspective, their client, their game, their digital game is getting 4 times, 5 times the numbers it normally does. The community is getting
without
engaged.
View bots.
Without view bots, real organic.
It's organic.
The stuff that counts, like, it's
people who can buy Magic cards after the fact.
Right.
View bots don't buy Magic cards. I don't know if anyone's noticed this.
Yeah. So if they're going to say we don't care about this, it doesn't serve us as well as what we're going to do instead, then what are they going to do instead? And you batted around, and I picked up your ball and ran with it. Shut up, PG. Is this idea of, well, they're just going to sell early access to the players, because why have everybody watching Magic Arena when you could have everybody paying money to play Magic Arena, quote unquote, early? So just like we're seeing with the Secret Lair subscription, they're going to say, hey, guess what? Strixhaven releases this Friday, but if you'd like to play it on Magic Arena 1 week before it releases on Magic Arena early, give us $199 and you can.
It'll be a new tier of Mastery Pass. Right. It'll be one of the tiers of the subscription service. It'll be really abhorrent if we get a situation where people are doing that and others aren't, and they don't have access to the cards if they're in the same queues. That'd be some bizarre. I mean, that sounds like something they shouldn't do.
They'd probably keep them like in their own little thing.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't even know if Arena can functionally do that.
Yeah, they probably don't have the programming for it. But the idea that they're just going to sell early access to everyone, and they say, why are we letting streamers play early access just to get bigger views on Twitch when that isn't making us direct money? What would make us direct money is if we said to anyone, click this button, give us $100, and you can start then paying us money for the Strixhaven packs, and you'll be spending even more money, right? And so it's just like, well, we got to do that.
Well, there is so something else I want to clear up, and this is me telling people off at home a little bit. So just bear with me, people at home. I'm sorry for this, but there is a sentiment that I can see where there are people who would definitely pay for this, and I was seeing the people who are like, "Oh, the streamers get a day's worth of competitive advantage."
Oh,
I'm like, no, because none of the points work towards the ladder. The ladder means absolutely nothing anyway. We've already talked about how organized play doesn't actually matter, and also everyone is just mucking about and having fun and getting their communities involved and playing meme decks that the communities are submitting. So please, if you're watching this at home thinking, "Oh, what about the competitive advantages?" There really isn't any. Okay, if you pay $100 to get access to the arena a day early over other people, you aren't getting the competitive advantage. Just
what I really want to stress to our viewers at home is this too. You probably do not realize, and if you're the one who does, then pat yourself on the back, but a lot of people do not realize how profitable Arena is. It is gangbusters. It has changed the entire corporate direction and philosophy of the company of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. That's how much money it's making. And they literally go into a meeting and they say, all of these people are giving us dump trucks of money more than anything else. And we know for a fact that if we say to them, hey, we're going to let you give us dump trucks of money a week sooner, if you give us just money that doesn't cost us, we don't have to produce anything. The cards are coded, they're on there. We're just going to flip the switch to let you play with them early, $100. If even a fraction of the people who play Arena do that, it's millions.
Huge.
If half the people who play Arena do it, it's billions.
I doubt as well. So here's a thrown out prediction, and this might be it's not just tin for hat. This is just how it is. They will not be selling that as an individual item. I am almost certain it will be part of some sort of subscription. I'm surprised the Mastery Pass itself hasn't moved to a subscription model yet.
Right.
Because we've seen this in every other part of the video games industry where everyone wants to move towards a paid for service, and we see it streaming too, because they want you to be on the paywall, not on the paywall, I don't know, have a standing order on your direct debit or whatever, so that you're always paying and you have to cancel it yourself. You have to actively opt out because that gives them some security and it makes them more likely to keep monetizing you. This is going to become a service. We already have it in a way because you have to buy $100 or $200 worth of packs each time a set comes out to even play the new decks. But that's my prediction. I think we're going to see more subscription-based stuff ongoing, both in Arena and RL with the Secret Lair stuff.
Yes.
This is probably one of the benefits.
So, given we know this, Hasbro says we need to double our profits from Magic coming in. But we can only print so much. We can only make so much. So we need to find ways to get people to give us money for not actually doing anything. And by finding those ways, that's a huge success. That's called you get a raise at Hasbro. And you go, okay, cool. What if we have exclusive items that people would have bought anyway, but we charge them access to buy those items? We don't actually produce anything there, but people just give us the money and profits go up and we can hit our goals. And then that's what you're going to ask yourself the question, what are ways Hasbro can charge the players money without directly giving them a product? And that's what you're going to start to see more and more of wherever you can. And this is definitely one of those ways. But there's another reason why I feel they cut out the community creators and stuff is because you don't really matter to them. They need Mr. Beast. And that's the other aspect of this.
Yeah, so before we get on to Mr. Beast, which is the next inevitable elephant, beast in the room.
Beast in the room.
But like so the content creator program that was involved with the early access thing is a mess and no one knows what's going on with that. The Greenlight Fund, anyone remember that? They were offering. They said they had like $250,000.
Magic's missing million.
Where is it gone? Anyway, so those things are all gone. I did email the creator team. So what happened was everyone got codes to give away, which I should give away, by the way. And I got less codes than some people for no apparent reason other than perhaps being British or European. So I emailed them back and said, is it because I'm European? And that prompted them to respond, I think, because it looked like I was saying, is there a prejudice here? Their response was, I'm not going to say who it was, and the person who responded was perfectly pleasant. I don't begrudge anyone in that team. So that team gets to make these decisions. But their response was that something is coming for the creators. So just to bookend that, is that supposedly they're reinvigorating or changing that system. They don't have to rely on stream elements and all that sort of stuff, if you know anything about that. So there is something coming back to replace this, supposedly.
Sure.
When? Where? What? We have absolutely no idea, and they can't give any information, and that's one of the frustrations. There's no transparency there. There's no even. This is a thing that was emailed to me. Why aren't they saying that publicly? They can see people are annoyed. Why don't you say publicly, we're going to do something, we just can't tell you what yet. But that's bookending that.
I need to ask you a question, Vince, and I'm asking you this question as though you were a Hasbro executive. Okay.
I am, Brian. It's my secret identity. How did you know?
Yes. Pleasant Kenobi and Tolarian Community College, their audience is all established Magic players. The people who watch them buy our game, buy our product, are addicted to our game, are addicted to our product. As angry as they get, they still keep buying it. Sales still keep increasing. So for all their bitching, they still keep buying the product. And they watch those channels. Why should we spend effort to work with those channels? How does that get us sales? Their audiences are already buying our product. Also, the creators are independent in the case of Pleasant Kenobi and the professor, so they're going to bitch about us and cause egg on our face sometimes and call us out on things.
That's how we make the money, Brian.
Right. So they're also very difficult to work with. There's a lot of them. Then when you start to talk about, well, what about Magic creators who are in that low to mid range, suddenly it explodes. There's a lot of them. They're all very unpredictable. They all have their own different unique brand and personality and things that drive them, and they have different formats. It's a lot of work and effort. And again, I will stress to the board, all of their audience already buys our product. So why are we doing things with them when we can take the money that we would spend to do streamer events and community events and things with them, and we pool all that money together, and instead of getting 100 Magic the Gathering creators in a big cool thing, let's just get a big creator who isn't in Magic,
beast, you might say.
A beast of a creator whose audience might then get turned on to our product and come purchase our product.
So just to clarify, as you move into this, it's not just Mr. Beast, right?
No.
There are a load of random chess pros that have been tweeting a little bit about how they've been playing Magic a bit. There is some political commentary. Covert Blue did a good video on this. Go watch it.
Excellent. Go subscribe to Covert. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. He does a very good video where he talks about this. So there are other creators, and it makes sense.
Oh, it does.
On like a base level to get your brand out there and get articles into mainstream newspapers and magazines and things like that, and get Magic is now Turing solved. Get that into the science community. A Black Lotus is sold, or we better make sure. Like, it makes sense to get those things out into the wider community, sure. But we've already talked before how building a patchwork, building a community itself, building a cohesive product helps to keep the game alive. We've already talked about that. So there is definite reason. But I get why they would like to spend the money elsewhere. The problem is it doesn't have to be one or the other, right?
Well, that's where we definitely agree. I don't think it needs to be one or the other, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Look, we've got somebody who's a big StarCraft player. We've got someone who's just a big personality. We've got someone who, like, I actually think when they got those rock bands to promote Kaldheim, that was really cool. A lot of their audience is people who might not have really thought of Magic but got turned on to it with those promotions. That all makes sense. I'm not like gatekeeping, like, oh, that's not a real Magic player. Like that. Mr. Beast isn't a real Magic player. I think it
bringing in new players is
perfect
fantastic for the game.
The problem is that the mentality is, then why should we bother with people who are already creating content for our own players? It's this all or nothing attitude, and they don't see the reason why you invest in the foundation of your community. And that's my problem. So when people have been asking me, what do I think of Mr. Beast? I'm like, makes a lot of sense. I actually think in a lot of ways it shows how cheap Wizards is, because the prize is $25,000, where Mr. Beast goes and tips, $100,000 for a cup of water. And so it's like, obviously that's not his money being put up. No. And so Wizards of the Coast is like, Mr. Beast should come and give a giant prize. That's great. So, how about $25,000? Wow,
so
Wizards.
The thing, right?
Wow.
So, full fun too. I quite like Mr. Beast. Only started watching content recently, but I think his content is very wholesome.
I like him too. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He did an interview with Casey Neistat where he talked about like what his strategy was to get to where he was. And one of the things he said was, when sponsors give him money, he just puts it back out there to people and to his own team and growing. So what he does is, if people don't know in Twitch chat, he Ubers a car and then gives the person the car at the end of it, walking up to a Lamborghini at the end of the video.
Right.
He's a smart guy and he's giving money back to people. It's lovely. Yeah. So what's happened here is that Wizards are obviously paying him more than $50,000. He hasn't said, oh, okay, I'll just give that $50,000 back to the Magic community. What's happened is they put forward $50,000 for him to give away, 2 lots of 25 to 2 people who match against him on Arena at some time frame.
Right.
They're paying him behind the scenes. Then he is rightfully so taking that money back to go reinvest it in what he does with his own content and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's what's actually happening here for people who aren't up to date on who he is and how he normally functions and stuff. And he's very public about that. Like I said, he did it in an interview with Casey Neistat. Yeah,
it's hilarious. It's hilarious
cheap.
that nobody said, wait a minute, Mr. Beast is known for these outrageous things. It should be $1 million. It should be $100,000.
Where is the million? It could have been the Greenlight Fund.
Yeah.
It should have just been, two people in a match against me, they get half of the Greenlight Fund. It should have just been said that.
Yes.
Half of the Greenlight Fund, full stop.
It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I think that what a lot of, if there's any Magic content creators watching this today, my message to them would be expect Wizards to be less interested in working with you because you are preaching to the addicted. They don't need to. They're going to be nice and stuff, and preview cards are one thing, but like things like you're not going to get your face on the billboards that Wizards is putting out there.
But no one's asking for that, though, are they? No creators realistically asking for that. So, yeah, all I've been publicly asking for, it's not even for me, because I'm lucky enough that I do this as my full-time job, so I can tax deduct stuff. It's part of my business. I mean, the smaller creators who are starting out, like who was it? So, I can't remember who was saying it. They're saying on Twitter how they can't really even afford to get into Historic right now because of how expensive it is. And that pre-release event gave them time to record with full access to all cards. And I feel sorry for those people. And it's just a small thing to give creators some access. Just gives creators 100 wild cards. It costs you literally nothing to do.
It does cost, but Vince, it does cost them because creators are their customers.
Lost money that they aren't spending. Yeah, exactly.
Why would we give creators free wild cards when creators will spend their money on wild cards? Our creators aren't creators. Our creators are customers. Mr. Beast is our creator, and that's the mentality, and that's what you're going to see.
So I want to clarify because I think it's the thing we have to be super clear on. Is like I am super for them reaching outside of Magic to promote Magic because new eyes and new players to the game is always healthy and good. Because the game is fantastic. I think it should reach more people.
100%.
My frustration is that they're doing that and they're not doing anything at the moment. Hopefully they will do, but at the moment to support, especially smaller upcoming creators who are trying their hardest just to engage with the game and get people hyped about the game. That's a bit that bugs me. And let's be real, if they're a small independent company, right, as we always joke that they are, sure, using your money like finite amount of money, like loosely, concisely, sure. They made like, what was it, $1 billion almost last year? They can afford to throw out a bone to creators whilst also paying for Mr. Beast
No. They gotta make $2 billion next year. Every loose end needs to be snipped. Every loose end needs to be snipped.
Yes, it's cost cutting because that helps them to reach the next goal, which is to double or triple or quadruple the profits and stuff.
And I'm going to end on a very dire comment here, which is that it's going to work. They're going to make it for a while. It'll work until it doesn't, but it's going to work for now. And we're about to see, I think, over the next couple of years is that all that fuel and goodwill and community that a quarter of a century built up is going to get burnt up into money. The sales are going to continue to skyrocket. The money is going to continue, and interest is going to continue going to people outside of Magic. And the emphasis is going to be on Commander and digital. And then we'll see what happens when suddenly they make Modern Horizons 4 and nobody buys it because nobody gives a damn about Modern. And they also just had Ultimate Masters 3 and Time Spiral, well, not Time Spiral, and Urza's Saga remat. Well, not that one, there's reserve list cards.
It'll be Kaldheim remastered.
Kaldheim remastered. Can't do a remastered set when there's only one set in the block. That's another topic.
We've already had Return to Kaldheim.
Oh, okay, Return to Kaldheim. Wow, exciting. I'll give
Kaldheim Allegiance, Kaldheim Guilds.
Right. I'll give $25,000 to anyone who can name all 10 of the Kaldheim realms from memory and what their colors and characteristics are. It can't be done.
There will be one Kaldheim superfan out there somewhere. On a more positive note, as we end out here, is that if this happens and is successful, it means that Magic survives. Obviously, it transitions and it changes. So that's good for all of us who are heavily invested in Magic, both you at home watching this who loves playing Magic and listening to us talk about Magic, and us who like to talk about Magic because it's weirdly become our job somehow. But something that excites me for the future is the idea that perhaps one day the old guard will leave to go retire or take some sort of advisory job for some sort of financial company or some pharmaceutical company somewhere, and the young, fresh upstarts who love Magic for what it is, but also do want to turn a profit and keep Magic successful, they will take over, and then Maybe things will be better when they remember the good old days of Modern Legacy. You never know, Brian.
What they're going to do is then when the profit, then they get rid of the reserve list because they can't sell anything else. And so they get rid of the reserve list and they do vintage masters and they sell that and they get their money and then they unload the dead carcass of Wizards of the Coast to Asmondi. And Asmondi buys Wizards of the Coast and actually decides to make a game instead of a collector's.
Who's Asmondi? Who's Asmondi? Is that like an evil demon?
Yes, that's an evil demon. That's an evil demon.
Sounds like the villain from Doctor Strange, Asmondi.
Yes. So we'll see. In the meantime, have you checked out Flesh and Blood? It's really awesome, and they're interested in competitive play. That might be a topic for another time. Anything you want to close on? I think it's okay now for us to peek at chat. We had been looking away from chat, and I think it's okay to peek at chat now. And I also want to thank JD Green Ridge for subscribing, Nuxol, Dippin' Man, John Ack. We were not calling them out, but I want to definitely call those people out and thank them for that support. This was Dice Removal Live. We're about to get a game of Modern, Vince and I. This is the first time you and I, we've played Legacy when you came and visited. I played with your sneak attack deck, which was a lot of fun. But this is our first game of Modern that we've ever played, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. I generally think it is, which is crazy.
Yeah, so this should be fun.
I'm going to launch my stream before we get started.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we thought it would be fun, is we're going to keep audio chat open. Vince is going to launch his stream, and you'll be able to watch Vince in his hand on his stream, or you can watch me in my hand on my stream as we play Modern. Baboyo 214. Thank you so much. You've given a sub to Blue Lore. Here, let's get the thing. Vince, I'm going to make your face go away while I load up Magic Online. Oh my God. Now your face is on Magic Online. That is a thing. Let's just get rid of
They'll never put my face on Magic Online.
Yes. No. And then let's get Magic Online up and running here. Woo! There we go.
All right, I'm going live.
Whoa, I can hear your effects there.
My effects?
Yeah, I'm hearing something in terms of Magic Online.
Nope.
No? Okay.
Not me. My Magic Online is muted.
I'm hearing something. I'm hearing you play Magic Online.
Nope. Have you opened a Twitch?
No.
Let me check. I've only got sound sources coming from.
I'm not hearing it now. Okay. Well, I don't know. Anyway.
Interesting.
All right. So
interesting.
I'm going to show my deck to chat. You can't see my screen. Whoa, I heard that. Oh, it's my noises. Oh my gosh.
Professional Magic the Gathering content creator.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for that sub, Elijah Prophet. The alert box didn't pop up. I'll make it pop up. There we go. Elijah Prophet, thank you so much for that sub. My deck, here we go. We're looking at this will definitely not give it away to Vince because I give all my decks cute deck names. So this deck is cleverly disguised as Advanced Marine Biology. So there's no way.
I need to rename mine then. I'm just going to rename mine.
What are you going to rename it? Warhammer something? I don't know. Warhammer reference?
No. I'm just.
Are you buying the Warhammer Universes Beyond Commander decks?
100%. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Holy moly! Brian SD just gifted 10 subs. We've got some scholarships coming in here. Blah 2020, Silverfang 30, Zuchin 120, Miscelano, Heavenly Evan, Uber Nerd, Crabgonberry, something like that. And Seems Deece, Wall of Sealing, and Quartz Quills threw in their Twitch Prime. Thank you very much, Quartz Quills. Thank you all. Welcome. Remember, by the way, everybody who is a subscriber has access to the exclusive Tolarian Community College Discord, which I have just put the link to in chat. We've got a cool little community going on. Also, if you're a patron at any level, you also have that access. So y'all just can go check out the Discord. It's really cool, and occasionally I pop around, but not that often. But it's still really cool. I do. I read things. Are you Are you up on going here, Vince? How we doing?
Just talking to my chat, Brian.
Okay.
I was just like, he's just not going to shut up, so I better mute myself and mute him.
No.
Welcome back, my friend, for 12 months. Right, Brian, are you ready to get modern?
Galuba Fish, subscribe with Prime. I realize we're both going to be shouting out subscriptions while we play.
What's the name of your deck?
The name of my deck is Advanced Marine Biology.
Okay, my deck is just called Dredge.
Right. All right, Streamside Creative. Challenge me, baby. Challenge me.
Here we go. I've got Dredge, and I'm challenging you.
All right. Advanced Marine Biology. I accept your challenge.
Right, let's show this marine biologist what it needs to be dredged.
Streamside Creative. All right. Yeah, hey, there's a nice hand. There's a nice hand.
Okay. Right then, my friend.
Seems all right. I'm gonna keep that.
Oh, that's a good point, Brian. We have played Modern once when I near-foam commed you on turn 1 in the middle of a skit.
Ah, yes. Those skits aren't real. I'm sorry.
Don't destroy the illusion. I had to check which one was called what there.
That's a funny looking Dredge land there. Dredge plays Aether Vial.
Yep. It's I call this Vial Dredge. Thank you for the gift subs, Barry. Algoidus SY giving out to Alfredo Chicken per 1 Glorious Killjoy, Crackshot, and Volgwingan. Right, Brian, over to you. Let's see. Do you have a Dredge staple like Aether Vial?
You know, the truth is that that's a really good turn 1 you just did there. Really good turn 1.
I thought you were going to copy it, Brian.
I think I'm going to copy it.
Oh, there we go. Dredge really does have a new toy today with Aether Vial. Right.
Anuke Guardian. I got to remember that this is not going to auto-tap my lands for me.
Oh, right. You're
I actually haven't played. No, I haven't played. I got sick of Arena. Whoa! Magic Tower, thank you so much. Being a benefactor.
This is a very strong Dredge card.
Remember to fix the
thank you, Bobby,
typo
for the
in
gift
your
sub.
donation
Otherwise,
box.
junk.
Donations
I hope
on
chat on both our
screen.
sides are like, oh, I just love hearing them both shout out subs. Oh, have I lost Brian? Are you there, my friend?
I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I think.
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Can you hear me, Brian Fandango?
Brian Fandango.
Fishy boy.
All right.
They call you the professor, but I prefer the fish fessor. Okay. There you go. That's some golden comedy.
That's some solid stuff there, Vince. Solid.
I don't want to yield. Turn off yields. Mutavault? That's a creature.
Not yet, it ain't. Oh, I could have.
Subs, I'm going to start calling you out after you finish this game, just to make this more realistically doable. It's just like a bombshell. So don't worry, I will go back, my friends. I will go back. Don't worry. I want to focus on showing the professor some Dredge hospitality. You know?
Yeah. This is the weirdest Dredge deck I've ever seen. Double Noble Hierarch? Okay.
I mean, sometimes you just need to get your mana down, you know?
Yeah?
Okay. That's not terrible. Okay, I'm going to cast this lovely...
Oh, wow. That's a
Dredge
recent...
card from Zendikar.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I said that was going to be a big Dredge card in one of my videos.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh, I'm going to play as a 4 in green-white Dredge.
Hey,
card.
my Aether Vial. That's messed up.
Only one of us gets to play with Vial, and I'm the one who...
Well, that's because you're so vile.
Look at me. I am the Vial player now, Brian.
Right.
Here's a Noble Hierarch on steroids as well. How'd you feel about this?
Very nice. Enjoy.
I'm winning, Brian. You're on a lower life total than me.
The game is young, my friend. The game is young, except I didn't do so hot there. Do
you have another Vial?
I do not, but what I do have is this. Maybe I'll be able to draw a land. Let's see here.
So you draw and discard. Okay. Benthic Biomancer, not quite a Benthic Druid. What does Benthic mean then? Because obviously there's Benthic cards on both Dominaria and Ravnica, so I assume it's a real word, not a made-up magical word.
Yeah.
Benthic? Any idea?
Benthic. I have no idea.
I think Tachova is Tachova the Benthic Druid, isn't she?
Yes.
Must be something to do with fish fingers.
Probably. Fish fingers and custard?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll trade. You can have
really?
You can have a blue 1/1.
But why? Nice. That's weird.
No, basically I keep your Merfolk count down, so your lords are worse.
I guess
you don't get the bar back, you only get the illusion.
I guess so.
And I feel good about life.
Wow. Just for playing Dredge?
Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with Dredge? Why are you so mean about Dredge?
Dredge is mean about itself.
Wow. That's,
not my fault.
I'm now going to attack you with a roided up Noble Hierarch again.
Yeah, I guess that was probably not the best trade for me.
Yeah, did you brain fart and think you get the vial back?
No, I just I thought I wanted to get rid of your flyer. It
doesn't
fly, does it? That's my brain fart. I thought it flew.
For the first 3 leagues with this deck, even on stream, I was like, oh, it flies. And it doesn't fly then. So are you sure?
I get very confused by spirits that don't fly. They've got that one that Lorehold makes, and Lorehold makes this beefy spirit, and it's like, but it doesn't fly. It's just a ghost.
To be fair, though, the spirits, most of the spirits in Strixhaven don't, but I love the spirit flavor of they're like ghostly apparitions that control statues and suits of armor and stuff.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's the thing we never actually talk about was our favorite Lorehold colleges. So mine's Lorehold. Oh, sorry, Strixhaven colleges. Mine's Lorehold. What is yours?
I don't like any of them because none of them would accept me.
Oh, for God's sake. How did I know that was going to be
I'm too fat to attend Strixhaven or something because I don't see anybody with my waistline. So... no, but also I don't see anyone with my academic lack of academic excellence. Strixhaven is too intense for me. I'm just going to go to community college. God damn it with the Skyclave apparitions.
I know.
Son of a bitch.
Power creep has gone too far. White got a good card.
Yeah, I am outraged. I am outraged that White got a good card. But no. I'm at the community college. You know, it's okay. We actually, unlike Strixhaven, we have an anti-bullying policy, and our professors aren't dickheads. So it's great.
Look, I saw. Let's talk about this a little bit. You're saying how you didn't like that the colleges of Strixhaven were, mean to their students and stuff.
Yes.
And I get that. If we're looking at a real college, I would agree with you. But we're not. We're looking at a fictional college in a world where there was once a endless blood war that might have ended, and also
it's not endless if it ended. It's not endless if it ended.
And look, so it's just all magical, angry stuff. Why can't there be a bit of conflict? Why can't there be a bit of magical fictional bullying?
Right. My deck normally does things. I just want to stress for everybody, my deck does normally do things.
What we're demonstrating here is that Merfolk falls apart if you take the vial away. And that's why you should play D&T.
It certainly didn't help that you took my vial away. I'm going to say that. It certainly didn't help that you took my vial away. I found that to be a move, most vile.
I'm going to take away...
Oh, screw you.
I'm just going for the fun of it. Oh, no, I was going to flicker out both your lands and leave you with no permanence by
Yeah, no, I knew that was coming. To hell with you.
Absolute cowardice, chat. Absolute cowardice. Right. I don't like Game 2 as much because I guess I think that Sky Apparition has made the Merfolk matchup a lot better. It used to be historically quite a poor matchup for modern D&T.
Uh-huh.
Because your creatures are bigger, and you can muck around with my mana, and we can't really disrupt yours.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oh, Trial Chemist and chat just got their first bits for D&T in Modern today. What a chance that I was also playing it today as well, eh? See? That's what that's what good content creators do. They just randomly happen to play a thing you just bought,
Thank you so much for that cheer, Jabifus. I love you to bits.
That was awful. I wish I'd never heard it.
What's awful?
The pun.
I love that. I say thank you for the cheer. I love you to bits.
Yeah, and I just wish I'd never heard it.
Yeah.
My camera, for some reason, because I'm on Discord as well, is actually very choppy, chat. Don't worry, we're streaming in a bit.
Wow. Jeez. That's a hand. I think we're going to go ahead and mulligan that. All right. Hey, look.
Yeah,
land.
My hand's garbage.
Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and put you back. Done.
Oh, so I did misspeak, Talon. Yes, we are playing Dredge today.
All right, this time you're going to see my deck do some things, thankfully.
No turn 1 Vial, okay.
No turn 1 Vial, that would have been sweet.
Well, sometimes you just got it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just...
So what are you doing on stream after this? You're going to keep streaming when I'm done.
Yes, I am. I'm going to be playing this deck through a league.
Ooh, a league.
It's got a new Strixhaven card in it. It's got Polo... I always get the names in the wrong order. Paulo Vito Doma de Rosa in the deck.
Draw me something good here. That's all right.
I would just islands. Okay, let's untap and tick up this vial. Dredgeless Dredge. That's it.
Dredgeless Dredge. That's great. I love saying like a deck is something list something when it does that it doesn't have. That is so funny.
I'm gonna ghost court myself here. Grab a white source and cast a Charming Prince.
How very charming.
I am gonna scry 2.
Hey, Johnny V, thank you so much for the subscription.
There are Dredgeless Dredge decks in Historic, chat. I know it's Historic a lot, because I want the format to succeed, you know? Even if Wizards of the Coast don't. I can say that about any format, Brian, other than Standard. I want to see it succeed, but Wizards of the Coast doesn't. I guess Brawl is the opposite, though. Wizards of the Coast want to see that succeed, and I don't. Marrow Rejury. That card is pretty good.
It's decent.
Yeah. Do you fancy a trade, my friend?
Yeah, I do.
Let's do it. The prince is going to kiss the fish. That's an old Arthurian legend, right? Princess kissing fish.
Something like that.
We're going to take up our vial. We're going to draw what we know is on top, which is going to be another Aether vial. And I'm going to play it, thanks to the Charming Prince scrying us. I was meant to scry into more lands, but I saw a vial and I was like, a vial is basically a land. It's like lots of lands inside a little Pokeball. It's a Pokeball full of lands.
That's one way of looking at it, for sure. All right, let's have some fun. Love it.
Personally, I hate it, but you know, each to their own.
That's on you.
Oh boy, they're all getting pretty big. Many fish. Many Magic the Gathering fish asked the question, what's inside the Pokeball? It's just a scavenger news.
All right.
Ben Kubasiak is asking in my chat, is Merfolk usually mono blue? Brian, do you wanna answer that?
It's usually in modern blue, although blue-green decks ever since Ixalan have had their run in the sun. I used to like blue-white for a lot of white is, as everybody knows in modern, one of the best sideboard colors. And so that was very nice.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they're back primarily towards blue. Whatever Nikachu fancies playing is the
basically, if you want to know what to play in Merfolk, just see whatever Nikachu's playing.
On the Zerianol asking in my chat, do me and Brian still think that Strixhaven's a Harry Potter ripoff? If you want to know about that, my friend, you can watch the VOD of this stream. That'll be up on my YouTube channel in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it at the beginning of Dice removal today.
We did.
I will not be blocking. I'm going to just take 4, which means you're winning.
I'm winning with my folk. I'm winning with my folk.
Okay, let's put some mismatch and vile triggers in the stack.
Which is always very clear and easy to follow on Magic Online, having 2 Aether Vials and deciding which one to tick up and which one to stop ticking up. Really straightforward, really easy to understand, right?
In the modern UI, yes.
No.
But historically, no.
No.
But nowadays, you hover over it and just highlights which one you're... If there's a long time when it didn't do that. There's a long time, Brian, where you play an Aether Vial, it'll probably just crash.
Uh-huh.
We're living in the golden age of Magic the Gathering Online, Brian.
Uh-huh.
The golden age. If you could kindly stop attacking me, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. I'll make sure to just, when I get to the attack phase, I'm going to say, don't attack with all creatures. That's that top option there.
Interesting. You attacked anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So you have mana up, you have 2 cards in hand. There is a chance you have... what should we call it? The thing that turns off abilities and stuff on a card. I want to say Merfolk Trickster. Take this one out.
I mean, that would be nice.
And then we're going to do some more stuff.
Oh.
So we're going to cast a spell that I think is apparently too good for Historic.
Oh, really? What spell is that?
Path to Exile.
Oh, that is a really good spell.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. We've got Force of Negation. Jeez. And you exiled. I can't get back on my Eternal Witness. Wow.
Yeah. Now what?
Guess I'm just going to block with my 3/1 and hope it's good enough.
All right.
Block here. There we go. I'll take 3 going to 13. Why did you force to negate my Path to Exile? It literally does nothing, Brian. That was incredibly rude. Okay, trees on the stack. We're going to say always no to this one.
Are your Aether Vials mismatched on purpose or out of laziness?
So I got them originally in a purchase from a bot many moons ago when I first started playing this deck, and I've never changed them because it feels nostalgic for me.
Sure, that's a good reason. Yeah, this is a new arena update. Minemalil, whatever your username is. This is they've brought. Sorry,
you gave up halfway through pronouncing it. Right, here comes the scoos.
Well, excuse me.
I'm going to eat your Regery.
Enjoy.
There we go. Over to you, my fishy friend.
Ooh. That's interesting.
Interesting, you say?
I do say.
Okay, well...
What's it gonna be, Snap Daddy?
Let's activate the Pokeball again. Who's that Pokemon?
I choose you.
Go on, take a guess.
Flicker Wisp again?
Nope, it's your favorite, Skyclave Apparition.
Oh boy, Skyclave Apparition.
Oh, I literally clicked the wrong one. I thought in my head, don't click the 3-drop, only click the 2-drop. And I clicked the... like, well done, chat. Someone mark it up as a pun, because that was the incorrect thing to do. Oh, Merfolk Trickster. I actually don't know what will happen here. I think it still exiles it. Yeah, because the trigger's still on the stack, so the body will lose the text. So what you gonna try it on? Gonna try it on my apparition, okay.
Lame.
Now if I sack my apparition now, you wouldn't get the Ridgery thing.
I wouldn't get the 1/1 token. Oh God, no.
No. You get a 3/3.
Oh, 3/3 because it converted mana cost.
Because I clicked the wrong one of the two. Like I should have.
I mean, a 3/3 isn't bad. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. Objectively, I should have clicked the two mana one, right? I guess taking Iron Walk off you in case you've still got Spreading Seas in the deck. I guess.
Yeah.
Tick this up, and always. Oh no, we're gonna definitely. Are we? No, we're not gonna tick up. One Pokeball on 2. One Pokeball on 3. Am I rewarded for my patience? I am not.
Good.
Interesting. We're gonna go a slapping.
A slapping. Ugh.
And he comes. One
Yeah.
Scoozy boy.
Take it. I don't care.
Yeah? Fine. I'm gonna eat your Silver Guild Adept to add insult to injury. And life gain. I'm going to add insult, injury, and life gain. All to this collection.
Yeah.
Just going to casually put a stop in your draw step. Don't worry about me. We're about to see an interaction that really sucks and proves that this card isn't that good. So we're going to go to your draw step. You're going to draw something, right? I'm then going to look at what it is, exile it, and it'll cost you 2 more. But right now, that probably doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, I do have land.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, it's Paulo.
I just felt left out that you'd drawn a card and I didn't get to see it immediately, you know?
Yeah. I love how I'm not getting the artwork loaded on the Elite Spellbinder thing there.
There you go. Let's just exile your Benthic Biomancer.
Sure.
Which now costs 3.
Oh no, not 3.
Yeah. Well, at least you can't cast a 4-drop now.
True. Now I'm going to draw a card, discard a card.
Strong.
Very. We call that strong.
Who's the dredge deck now, Brian?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret tech for it all along, is Benthic Biomancer is the dredge card. Take 3. Okay, I am not taking up my vials. Just going to leave those where they are.
Mm-hmm. Steve Dale, 1986, thank you for the subscription. Come on in and have a seat. Someone asked, when will Flesh and Blood get an online client? The answer is never. The game is intended to be played in person only, so deeply that the name itself is supposed to convey how the game is played in Flesh and Blood. They want to put their investment into the local game store. They have really good deals in terms of how much they sell the product to the local game store for, so as to make it very profitable for them. The premise being that will incentivize game stores to hold tournaments, which their main goal is to have a big, active tournament scene. And so Flesh and Blood will not ever have a digital client because they would like you to play at your local game store in Flesh and Blood. What a fuffing concept. I can't attack into that. Gosh darn it. I'm in trouble here.
They also want to drink your blood too.
Yes, they also want to drink your blood. Well, you know what? I think I'm dead here, so I'm going to just... Because I can't stop Paulo. Paulo's going to slap me to death.
Paulo's going to go for the top 8.
Yeah.
I want to block the 2 because it feels like...
And apparently they already have a pretty active tournament scene in New Zealand because New Zealand handled pandemic very well and they're based out of New Zealand. And so they've been having tournaments, but they've got some big plans for when the rest of the world catches up to New Zealand. Kablamo.
Got him.
Got him. Got there.
Oh, I better dab and play some music. Where's the what?
You won.
No,
Congratulations, Vince. Congratulations.
There we go. There we go.
All right.
Twitch chat.
What is your channel name again?
Oh, you see, it's all the same, mate. I'm very consistent with my branding. I'm
PleasantKenobi. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna do. I'm going to go lie down for a little while and recover from that. But we are going to give good old PleasantKenobi a raid, and you can watch him continue playing Modern or Legacy over there.
I'm playing Modern. Playing
Modern.
I just played.
Modern's the raid word. Go raid him with Modern. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you had a good time watching Dives to Removal live and some Modern action.
Cheers, Brian. It's been really fun, mate.
It's been really fun.
I'll catch up with you a bit more in the week.